Crap with Beth and Matt. Cut to Crap is the world's #1 no bullshit health and fitness podcast. Hey there, how are ya? Happy Friday, friends. This week we are joined by our good friend Gina Hatzis, who is too much woman. We talk about what it means to be a too much woman and why you shouldn't be toning that down for anyone. We also talk about how you can start loving yourself, showing up for you, and being your most authentic self. Let's jump into it.
Hey!
Gina!
Hi. Hey, baby! How
What's
you
going
doing?
on? Doing really well.
A bit of a mic issue this morning. Let me know if my sound's okay. I'm so excited to see you.
Yeah, likewise. No, you sound great. You look great. Love it. Yeah.
Hi, Beth!
Hi. Nice
Beth,
How you
this
doing?
is Gina.
I already love you. I binge watched or listened to some of your podcasts this morning. So
Nice.
you're definitely
Yay.
my kind of woman.
I was just telling Matt, I was like, oh my God, like the too much woman. I'm like, I can totally relate to that shit. So I love it. I'm super excited to talk with you today.
Okay.
It's going to be so good. So good.
Yes. Everybody's got her water. Beth has her coffee, it looks like.
Coffee and water. Mm-hmm.
Coffee and water, hydrate or dehydrate. Let's do this.
Yep, hydrate.
So Gina, what's new in your life? Are you getting ready to, first of all, let's actually, before we talk about what's new in your life for our audience, so obviously we're just going right into recording. What, give us a little bit of background on you so everybody that's new to Gina, they can learn about you real quick.
Sure, thanks. Okay, what do you need to know? I'm the too much woman. I am a 25-year speaker. I actually spoke corporately, publicly for most of my career. And then a couple of years ago, I delivered a speech that was picked up by Goalcast, which is an online media source. And it went viral to 50 million. And it was a story very true to myself. Because, like I work with women. I'm an empowerment speaker. So, I talk to a lot of women. And the story that I hear repeatedly is, I'm not enough. I don't feel good enough, yada, yada, yada. But my story was a little bit different. My whole life, I was told I was too much. I was told that I was too sensitive, too emotional, too dramatic. I had a big mouth, so I was too opinionated. I'm sure you can relate. I took up too much space. I was too ambitious. My body was always too voluptuous. I was always the too muchness. So I spent my life contorting myself, dimming down. As a speaker in a male-dominated industry, I couldn't look like this. So I spent much of my career, wearing suits. I manned up. I tried to fit into the role of what I thought a speaker needed to look like to play by the rules of the game. So I would bind my breasts. I wouldn't wear heels or anything provocative. My hair was in a bun with fake glasses. And the turning point for me that I talk about in the speech, and this is getting to your point, Matt, is at one point I delivered a killer speech, and I remember feeling so good about it and walking out into the parking lot, and someone from the audience came up to me, and I look like a man. Like this is not like, I know this isn't a podcast audio, but I didn't have flaming red hair or red lips or, I just looked mannish intentionally. And I was out in the parking lot, and I was accosted by someone from the audience who pulled me really close. And they said, I have a fetish for librarian types. And this was just one of many times where I was sexualized and disrespected, not only professionally, but personally, no matter what I did. So I was like, fuck it. Can I swear on here?
Yeah, swear away. Come on, Gina.
Please.
Like,
please fucking swear.
I don't know what the rules are here, but I was just like,
we have no rules.
If this is going to happen, I'm just going to show up fully as myself and my too muchness. Like I'm going to go there because no matter what, there are going to be repercussions. And so anyways, that changed the trajectory of my life. That one speech, I got, a book deal. I've been on tour for 3 years, pre-COVID. I've been on the biggest stages of my life. And I'm really, more than anything, all of that stuff is really exciting, but more than anything, and the way that you and I connected, Matt, is because I realized from that speech that wasn't a me story. It's an us story. And that so many of us, not just women, men, women, everywhere on the spectrum, we want to show up fully as ourselves. And we think we need permission. That's bullshit. Let's just do it and be models for one another.
Yeah. And I'm really big on that, right? Especially these last, 6 months or so on social media. I've just really been trying to be my authentic self and just show people who the fuck I am and where I've been. And because people need to see real. We've been being fed bullshit our entire life. And where has it gotten us? We're sad, we're lonely, we don't love ourselves, and it's got to stop.
What's so fascinating, and I'd love to know what your experience has been, both of you, but what's so fascinating is it's really popular now for people to say, be yourself, be authentic, right? Mm-hmm. Like, especially on TikTok where we met, where I think of all social media platforms, the place where, people are invited to show up really as themselves. But here's the thing that I found is that when you spend your life, decades maybe, pretending, like putting on a facade, trying to be something else, trying to masquerade as a good girl, as a nice guy, as a smart, whatever it is, trying to be that person. Most of us don't even know who the fuck we are. So when we say be yourself, it's like, whoa, like, hold on, I don't even know.
Who am I? Yeah, for sure. It's that self-discovery journey.
Yeah, they come to a point in their life, they call it a midlife crisis, but I like to call it a midlife awakening, where you're kind of like, enough with the bullshit. It's not about becoming someone, it's about unbecoming all the shit that we thought we needed to be. And so some people, it's easy to feel lost, and it's normal for all your listeners to feel like, I don't even know who I am now that my kids grew up and out, now that I don't work at that job anymore, now that who am I? So this is really the bigger issue. Which is kind of fun when you think about it. Like, figure your shit out. It's your time.
Yeah, I love that so much. Oh my God. I can so relate, especially with TikTok and stuff. Like, I get accused of swearing too much. I'm not empathetic. Meanwhile, it's like, I'm telling you what you don't want to hear. So I'm the bad person. I'm not going to change who I am just so you're going to like me, put me in a little box.
Right. So you're being too provocative. And the story for women especially is that we can't use foul language. We can't be passionate because then we're seen as crazy. We're dramatic. We're drama queens if we shoot straight to the point. So that's exactly it. Stepping into your too muchness is really going to aggravate people, but that's okay. We're here to cause change.
It's not going to stop me.
We're gonna mix it up.
Make some noise,
I'm gonna fuck shit up.
We're here to fuck shit up and take some names. And you're right. And the more you try to fit into that box of what society expects of you and what, doing things to make other people happy, the more unhappy you're going to be as a person, because it's never going to be enough. You're being called too much too, but then you're also never going to be enough, because they're just going to be taking and taking and taking from you. And you're going to be giving and giving until you can't give anymore.
Yeah. And they're opposite sides of the same coin. Like, being too much is the same as being not enough. Like, being too sensitive is the same as not being strong enough. Like, so it's just different languaging, right? So at the end of the day, all we get are messages that say that we're wrong. We're wrong in our bodies. We're wrong in how we show up. We're wrong in our communication. We're wrong in our feelings. We're just fucking wrong in everything. And that's how the personal growth movement, which I've been a part of for my whole life, I'm recovering now, but it's all about being something other than we are. And so, I think what you do and what I do, we have the same mission. It's like, we want people to understand how powerful they are when they just cut the bullshit, right?
When they just cut the crap.
Cut the crap. That's the thing.
Yes. Yeah. And that video, the viral video, I fucking love that video so much. It's me as a man, when I watch it, I get chills, just what I can see and feel your passion in it. And the raw emotion that you have in that video too, just delivering that message. Like, and I'm sure you didn't expect that kind of a reception either, but it just, that's the beauty of viral videos and going viral on the internet. You never expect it.
Yeah. And that's actually a really funny story, because at that time I was a speaker for about 20 years, and I was invited to speak at a competition, and I thought it was going to be like 20 people in a bar, like a stand-up open mic kind of thing. And so I decided for the first time in my career to tell my story, not to tell what I thought people needed to hear and what they'd relate to, but to tell my story. And I remember saying to the event coordinator, no one's going to get this. No one's going to get Too Much Woman, but this is the one time I'm going to do it for me. It's 20 people in a bar. I didn't expect it to get on the internet and go viral. So that was the beauty of it. The fact that I was being most myself was the time I had my greatest success. So that just goes to show. Yeah. Crazy.
Absolutely. I know me personally, you know, since I've gone through this own journey of my own the last, 3 years, since like 2019 or so, when I've started being my just true to myself and that authentic version of myself and discovering first and foremost what that most authentic version of myself was, that's when, you know, I found success in all things that I do. I found happiness and was able to leave all that other shit behind.
Yeah. I think an important piece too, and I just keep jumping in because you bring up so many good points. So number one is, do we even know who we are? Like when we say cut the crap and be yourself, like the first thing is, do you even know who that is? Because if you've been playing the role for so long, many of us don't even know. But the second thing is, we don't talk often enough about how freaking scary and challenging and difficult it is to show up that way day in and day out. Because we've set up a whole construct, a social construct around our identity as that other person. So that means that people who are around us, the friend groups, the way of thinking, everything's been set up to support this old way of being. So once we decide, you know what, I'm gonna speak up and be myself. I'm gonna swear like Beth, you know, I'm gonna just shoot straight from the hip. I'm gonna tell it like it is and call out the bullshit in the diet industry. What happens is there's a huge backlash because people are like, wait, what the fuck? That's not who you are. That's not, this is not what we do here. And so we have to talk about how difficult it is and how it's so important to create systems. That's like people, like you found Beth, I found you, like create pockets where we can be validated and accepted and supported in that space, because we can't live in that old ecosystem as this new person.
Right.
It's too hard and it's too painful and it's exhausting because we feel like we're fighting people all day long.
Yeah, it's like the caterpillar coming out of the cocoon, right? Becoming a butterfly. You can't. You're ready to leave the cocoon and blossom into your true self, but you can't stay in that safety of the cocoon anymore. Now you have to face the harsh realities of the world.
Yeah. And nobody talks about how often the butterfly wants to crawl back into the cocoon and be like, fuck this, I'm out.
Too hard out here. Yeah.
You know, like, it's a beautiful story to say, I spoke my truth and I went on tour and I got a book deal and my life changed. You know what? That's not the full story. The full story is that, and I lost friends. My family was like, what are you doing? Why are your boobs out? And why is your hair red? And why are you talking about these things? Like, you know, professionally, I got, you know, blocked out of a lot of, there are a lot of repercussions. And I don't think we talk enough about not only how hard it is, so the honest truth, but then also what we need to do about it. So it took me a good year to get my equilibrium again. Cause I was like, wait, where did everybody go? Like, I'm like, woohoo, I'm on top of the mountain. And it's like silent up there. There's nobody up there. There's no one like applauding, unless it's strangers on the internet. It's like, there's no one, like, where's my where is everybody cheering for me? And nobody talks about that. The butterfly doesn't just fly away and music's playing and, you know, she flies away and she's freaking alone most of the time. She has to find other butterflies, right? We don't talk about that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about that for sure.
Yeah. Well, you see it. I'm sure you're experiencing it because you guys are way showers. You're on TikTok calling out BS all the time. And what's the backlash?
Oh my God. What is the backlash? We're every name in the book, you know, we don't know what we're talking about. We're dumbasses. We're just trying to sell things, which is funny because the only thing we sell is like our time and expertise with clients, you know. We're not going to sell you products or anything like that. Everything. There's so much backlash. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. When you lose, you also find the people along the way that you were meant to be in your life too.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And we need that. We need to know that there's other people like us. Like for me on TikTok, since last summer, I think I told you this, Matt, I was banned. There's so many people reporting my content that I've been banned. I literally have not moved. I think I've moved like 5,000 since August. And so I went through 3 months of I was done with TikTok. I was just like, people aren't ready for me. People aren't ready for me. And so I've kind of come back slowly now. I'm like just plugging in again, but those are some of the repercussions is you just get deleted. You just get deleted. And so for me, I found that I had to take breaks along the way. It's not just about fighting and pushing through. I have to kind of tap out and say, you know what? I don't have to be a badass and be like, I'm going to stay here. No, I need to really take care of me first. And so I took some time
That's
off.
being badass right there. Taking
It
care
is,
of
it is, because
your mental health is important.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a big
being a badass, trying to persevere and just push through the grind and all the bullshit out there. That's not healthy. That gives that fake persona of being badass, but you can't sustain that. You're going to crash and burn. You're going to, So being badass is taking care of yourself in your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, everything.
All of it.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So then, since you're coming back and reintroducing yourself to TikTok, have you found yourself tempted to tone it down a little bit, or are you still unapologetically you?
Yeah, I'm taking a different approach, not just with TikTok, but with everything. Now that the world is starting to open up, now I'm thinking about, I'm planning going back on tour.
Yes.
So starting to plan that is different. It's different than it was. The world's different from 2 years ago. So my message is different. My energy is different. Who I am is different. And so it goes back to what we originally said. So I'm figuring out my identity all over again. I think we change and morph. We don't just go from caterpillar to butterfly. It's like the butterfly morphs into different kinds of butterfly. So it's ever evolving. And I think that's normal too, to like even for you, I'm sure, like you have a project this year that's your focus and the energy next year might be different. Right. And so we are constantly evolving. So for me, I've changed so much myself that I'm changing my approach a little bit. I'm really interested right now in identity. So let's talk about it, how it relates to your audience. So let's say, for example, I really want to change something about my physicality, my weight, my health, my whatever, right? So change occurs in one of three states. One is we have a goal, like the result. It's like, I want to lose 30 pounds. I want to, lift something. I want to, be a size 6, right? So there's like goal oriented. Everybody's like, have a goal, have a strong goal. Okay, that's cool. That's important. But that alone isn't going to get you there. So number 2, change occurs with a process. So you have a way of getting there. So that's like keto or, all this, whatever, or even just calorie reduction. There's a method, right? There's a way to do that. So that's important. Like, having a goal is important. Having a process is important. But what nobody talks about, and what I'm really passionate about, is the third way. And you can do the other 2 things, but if you don't do the third thing, it's not going to be sustainable. The third thing is you have to change your identity, who you believe yourself to be. So for example, if I just say, I'm going to run 30 minutes every single day and I'm going to cut out carbs, right? That's like, I have a goal, I want to lose weight and I'm going to run and I'm going to cut out carbs. But if I don't fundamentally change who I think I am, I'm always going to be the fat girl who's trying to lose weight. And that's not sustainable over time. Like I've got to, so it's really getting habits in place that I start to think of myself as a healthy person. Like for you, I'm sure both of you, I'm sure you struggle up and down every day with, you don't always want to exercise. You don't always want to, but
yes,
you will always act consistently with who you think you are. So Matt, you identify maybe as, a fit, healthy guy who takes care of, prioritizes his health, like in fitness. So over time, you're going to act in alignment with who you think you are. And nobody really talks about that part. Am I making sense?
Yeah. You're visualizing it and making it happen, speaking it into existence in a way, right? That's so coincidental too, because I literally made a video this morning. I don't know if you saw it, Gina, on TikTok, but I was on my walk and I made a video about, I asked my audience a question. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, what do you think losing this 10 to 20 pounds is going to do for you?
Right.
Is it going to make you happy? Is it going to change who you are as a person? This and this and this. And my answer then, I said, let me answer that for you. The answer is no. It's so much more than that. If you don't, it's not going to make you happy. It's not going to get you to where you want to be. It's just a means to an end in a way. But if you don't know who you are in that process, and if you don't know what drives you and who you want to be, it's pointless.
Yeah. Yeah. And so much of when I think about it, so much of it for me is like, you can make a commitment to every single day, walk your 10,000 steps, right? But if fundamentally there's a part of me that always sees myself as that fat girl that's struggling, it's going to make it so much harder for me to commit to that action every single day. Like I can do it in the beginning because I have momentum. Maybe I hire a coach or maybe I lose a little bit weight. Like how many of you must know people who have lost a shit ton of weight but they haven't changed anything inside. Like
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I have a best friend, for example, who's a marathon runner. I think she has 17 under her belt. She just fundamentally runs because it's who she is. If she doesn't run, we went to the Amalfi Coast a couple months ago and we spent a week there. Like, I was like, are you going to take off your running? She's like, take off. That's who I am. I can't breathe without running every day. It's who she is. But there are people who lose weight and they're still that fat person in their head, and they look gorgeous, but they don't have the confidence because they don't identify with being that fit person. And so it's so important that we talk about what it means, who the person is that you want to be, like who is the person.
And that's actually, not to get too into this, but that's the problem we see with like weight loss surgery, because with weight loss surgery, there's not a big focus on the mental side of things. So all of a sudden now you've lost all this weight, but you're still that same person that was overweight or miserable and this because you haven't done the work on your head and your spirit. Yeah. Exactly.
Because the mental work, I have another friend who had gastric bypass like over a decade ago, and she's slowly gained the weight back and made herself very sick doing it for that reason. What's so interesting is like, how do you start to shift that person? You look in the mirror and you've lost all this weight, but in your head, you're still the fat person. Right. And so your habits are always your daily habits, the thing you do every single day is always going to be in alignment with who you think you are. So you could try something for a couple days, a couple weeks, and hope that motivation like keeps you on track. But it's gonna inevitably fall off because it's not who you are. You haven't changed anything inside. That's why people who win the lottery, what is it, like 75% of them within a year, they're dead broke because they still see themselves as poor people. Right. So they haven't changed their habits. They spend like a mother, and then, you know, that's why. And that's why you could take all the money in the world away from rich people, and within a year, they'll all have the money back because they have habits and a way of being that generates the wealth, right?
Absolutely. That's amazing. I love the talk about habits there, since that's what we talk about so much on this podcast and with our coaching. So finding that identity, how do you go about finding who you are?
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
You've got me fired up. These are like my
yes. All right. Let's throw some fire.
Okay, so let's break this down. So once we understand that we fundamentally have to change something about who we think we are, so that our habits are going to be consistent with that goal, that thing that we want. The question obviously becomes, well, how the hell do you do that? How do you change your identity? Like, do you just think about, I want to be a fit person? Do you just pray on it? Do you meditate? Like, what do you do? Well, one of the best, easiest shortcut ways to redefine who you are is by changing what you do. So for example, if I say to myself, I want to be a reader, I don't just pick up a book and I read a book and, one day, and then I don't read for another 6 months. That doesn't make me a reader. But if I read 5 pages of a book every single day, I become a reader. So an athlete, for example, or someone who's fit, they don't just go and they just, work out one day and take a spin class. Every single day, they're going to do something that's going to move their body. That's what makes them fit. That's what makes them an athlete. So the way that we start to shift our identity is by small, consistent actions, the emphasis on consistent. It's like, what am I doing every single day? If I want to be a writer, I don't just write a poem and can call myself a writer. I am committed to writing every single day. So one of the best ways that we can do that is start to curate small, and the emphasis is small, and consistent habits. And the reason small is so important is normally when we want to set a goal, I'm sure you see this with your clients, right? They're like, I want to lose the 25 pounds and I want to lose it like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We're so focused on the end that we don't understand all of your energy just has to be in the beginning, creating those consistent habits, because you literally just have to put the reps in. You just have to put the reps of the action in. And as you every day start to flex that self-trust muscle and show up every single day, the results will come. They'll take care of themselves. But you've got to make it top heavy. And so you start to see, I'm a person who gets up every day and walks 10,000 steps. I'm a person who drinks water all day long. I'm a person who reads 2 pages of an inspirational book every single day. I'm that person. The only way you're that person is by creating habits that prove to you who you are every single day.
Yeah. Consistent action.
That's it.
Those actions meeting those goals, essentially.
Yeah.
We talk about that.
We have I know for me, I'll speak personally. Whenever I've wanted to change my body or lose weight, I'm an all or nothing girl. I'm like, that's it. I'm cutting all this out. I'm drinking a gallon of water. I'm no sugar. Like I just, and it's not sustainable because my identity over here is like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, so the motivation will only last so long, and then it's going to wane, and then I'm going to be screwed again. So that's yo-yo dieting for you.
Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it. So you kind of mentioned something there about like losing weight as a woman and being in your position and your past and everything. Have you felt a lot of pressure from society and everything to lose weight, like because you were deemed too much and things like that? And was that something you struggled with when you were just before you became this version of yourself?
So I started off in the dance world. So I was a dancer. I was an athlete for the first 20 years. So I've experienced the eating disorders, the body dysmorphia, thinking I was so humongous, and looking back, and I was master of my body. I was like a muscle machine.
Yeah.
So definitely recognizing that there's a gap between who I think I am, my identity, and who I was. As I started to get older, like I've never been more juicy or voluptuous ever. But I weight train like 5 times a week. I'm healthy and fit, and I take care of myself and so my body in my 40s doesn't look the way society thinks it should look as someone who might be fit, but I am. And so for me, what I've changed is I've changed the identity around how my confidence being equated to how I look, and more about how I feel. Like I've never felt sexier. It's hard for people to get because I've never been more voluptuous, but I've never felt sexier, because sexiness, attractiveness, confidence is really about you being in alignment with who you think you are. It's like you're acting in accordance with who you think you are. Like it's the same thing. So I trust myself. I know who I am. That's sexy. That's confidence. Even though my body doesn't look like I should be. People are like, are you really? Yes.
According to whom? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I was going to say, according to who, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, having said all of that, I will tell you that I don't know how many people a day, men and women, say your energy is so attractive. And so I've never had more people hit on me being the biggest weight that I've ever been. So I think fundamentally we understand that energy is attractive. That kind of energy is attractive.
Hell yeah.
How many of you have met people who are perfectly proportioned, but their attitude or their energy or their personality,
the vibe is bad, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm 35, and that's actually, I don't care. Like looks are still important, but that's not what is important. The most important thing to me. That's probably number 3 to 5 or something on the list. It's the energy, it's the personality, it's the vibe. It's are they a good fucking person? It's all these other things. And
isn't there people's attitude make them so hot? Like I can be so attractive to someone who people don't think are like, they're like, what?
Oh yeah.
Their vibe. It's like, whoa. It's like when you have an ex that you can't stand anymore, and suddenly you're like, how was I even turned on by them? Like they're right, like
yeah.
Well, our exes are exes for a reason too, and hopefully we learn something from our exes, and that's kind of what took me on my own journey of self-discovery. Was I just kept finding myself in the same vicious cycle of dating the same type of people or jumping from one relationship to another. And why was I doing that to myself? So I had to start asking myself that question: is what is it about me that is allowing myself to put myself in this situation over and over and over? And that can be with anything. It could be with fad dieting. It could be with dating. It could be with anything really, but like asking yourself those hard fucking questions and looking inward.
100%.
Yeah. It's definitely for attraction. It's definitely the energy, and you can feel somebody's energy, and yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
that's a lot of what I talk about on TikTok, because look, all of us want to feel a certain way. We want to look a certain way. We want, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Yeah.
I have a personal trainer for a reason, right? Like, I want to feel and look amazing. But what I understand fundamentally is that if I just work on my body without really fundamentally working on self-trust, which is the foundation of my work. Like, do you trust yourself? Do you show up for you? So I'm not looking for someone outside of me to validate me. I'm like, I show up every day and I move my body. I show up every day and I drink my water. I show up every day and I speak the truth. I show up every day and I write a blog. I show up every day and I'm showing up as my best. If I don't do that consistently, nothing I do to my body is going to be enough. So I fundamentally get that.
Got to do it for yourself first and foremost. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So you kind of alluded to this then too, with, things opening back up and travel starting to pick up for people. What do you have in store? Do you have anything you can announce right now, or do you have anything in the plans, or?
Yes, I have a couple of live events coming up. So we're starting in Canada, because that's where I live, starting in Toronto, and then we're moving out to the US. So I'll be sweeping across the nation.
Okay.
You, Matt. I'll let you know, but definitely we ending up in LA in November. But I'll be announcing tour dates soon. Really excited about that. And then I also still have programs online, because I mean, let's face it, we can't always get everywhere. And so there's always more stuff in the pipes. I've got a lot of stuff.
Definitely. Do you find that, these last 2 years, coming out of these last 2 years of the global pandemic, people are more accepting of what you have to talk about and going through this self-discovery journey and just being true to themselves?
Yes and no. I think people are hungry for it on some level, but I think people are we have like compassion fatigue. I think a lot of us have PTSD. Like, literally, now that I'm announcing dates and I'm announcing live events, I have people like, I really want to come. And I don't know if I'm ready to be around 100. Like, I think I'm interested to see, because I haven't run a live event yet. So I'm interested to see what actually happens. But fundamentally, I think people have shed a whole lot of crap, the way that we work, the relationships that we put up with. I think people are still hungry for it, but I really do think that it's still too soon to tell. I think we're raw. A lot of us are raw. And so that's one of the reasons why my live events that used to be very like intense and in your face, I've really softened them a little bit, because I think less than needing that kind of fury, I think we want to feel connected. I think people want to feel like there's a safe place. And while you and Beth, like, what I love most about you is your fury. Like, I freaking love it. It's so good. What I also know about you is that you have a big heart. And I'm sure the same is true for you, Beth. Like, you do what you do because you care deeply, and people feel that. If you were just on TikTok ranting and raving and, telling people off and like, swearing, that wouldn't be enough. It's not like people wouldn't gravitate, right? But what people who get you know is that you really care deeply about people and them changing. And so that's that place, that sweet spot that I'm looking for right now, that I think is so important right now, because people are raw. Like, we're raw from the past 2 years. And so we need someone to speak, shoot straight, but also to create a safe place for us to say, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. This is so hard.
Yeah.
Don't you find that?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, you can't always just be in your face. As much as I enjoy doing my content where I'm just telling it how it is and just like stop fucking around and doing, like, I can't, it's exhausting for myself to do that. And like, I can only do that every once in a while. I can't do that if I'm not feeling it. Right. It just goes back to being authentic. If I'm not feeling like that message, and then I can't, it would come across in my content, because like, this just feels forced.
But I'm sure when you're working, like for you too, Beth, like when you're actually working with a client one-on-one, you're not like with a megaphone as a drill sergeant. Like, you're understanding. I mean, you tell me, but I'm assuming that there's like, what's going on? Like, what's getting in your way? Like, I'm sure there's some harmony in your approach.
Yin and yang. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's definitely different than our TikToks. I think that's what people are like. I would never hire you as a coach. You know, you get that every once in a while. It's like, well, do you think I'm like on here, like on the phone with you saying this shit like I am?
You think I'm calling my client an idiot?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That can be scary.
Yeah.
But I think people intuitively understand, like when they watch I know, like Matt, like when, you know, I watch your stuff, I know that you fundamentally care. That comes through, and that's important.
Yeah. Appreciate that. That's very evident in your message as well. So
thank you. And I do come across, you know, it's funny, people, when they meet me, I'm very feisty, and I'm very sassy, and I'm very in your face, all of that. Yeah. And people are surprised when they meet me that I have a real, I don't know if it's tender, but it comes from a place of deeply caring, because I understand how they feel. I know that place deeply. And it's not because I'm over it. Please do not misunderstand. I haven't like run the race and cut through the ribbon and it's like, I love myself, I'm good. I struggle too. And so I just have figured out a process that gets me up and out of that space quicker and faster. You know, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm calling you out, but like, do you every single day want to eat clean and work out? Or do you have days where you just like, I'm not sure I'm feeling it, but you fundamentally either have a system or a check in place? Like, I don't know.
Me personally, no, most days I don't feel like hitting the gym and going and spending 2 hours a day if I'm doing that, you know. But I know, like you said, that's who I am at this point. That's my identity. I love strength training, and I'm doing my first powerlifting competition. That's me right now, you know. Now, this time next week, that's not going to be me. My identity is going to be changing again here soon. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm going to find that next thing. You know, right now I'm a power lifter in training. Next week, I'm not going to be a power lifter. What the fuck next? I don't know, but I'll find it.
Yeah. I think. And what about you, Beth? Like, I'm really curious, because I always think, gosh, if you're in this industry, you've got to just eat, sleep, and dream fitness or health. Like,
no, I think it's just we've built habits over time that I've kept consistent, and I don't even think about them anymore. I just do them. But now we're teaching other people to build a lifestyle that they can stick to. Like now we've built a lifestyle that we can stick to, and it's like second nature at this point. You know, it doesn't mean I want to work out 4 times a week all the time, but I do it because I know how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
I think that's important for people to hear, because, you know, like I never want to feel so unreachable, or, you know, people feel so disconnected. They're like, that's for Gina, because Gina feels so great in her skin. No, there's days I'm like, damn, what like, so, you know, but I know what to do in those instances. Like I have my moment, and I know what I need to do to get myself in state, or get myself into, I have habits built in to get myself to that place. And so it's never really ending. And I think that's important, because people always say to me, the famous line is, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I'm not
Nobody's ever going to be there.
Working on it right? Like,
I think we're all a work in progress, right?
Oh, yeah.
Always striving to be better in our own way.
I don't want to meet anyone who's done. Like when you're done, you're dead. Like if you say to me, I'm done, like I'm as far as I'm going to go, like I'm done.
Yeah.
It's that growth mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when people ask, you know, how long is it going to take me to reach my goal? However long it takes, like this is never ending, right? You're always going to find something that you want to be better at.
Yes. Hopefully you always have a goal you're chasing.
If we're not striving for growth and trying to learn and be a better person, like you're regressing, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I don't have any capacity, time, or energy for that in my life personally.
Yeah.
So I surround myself with people that are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why we're all here.
Even in that, like there's ebb and flow too. Like I'm not always like, gotta hit my goal. I do give myself grace periods where
absolutely.
You know, like I guess you'd call it plateauing, but it's more like integrating. It's like, I'm going to go. And now I'm integrating. Like I have to like, I'm shooting to be this kind of person. And now that I've integrated these habits, like I need to just have some consistency and not just keep trying to grow.
That's
like,
so important.
Actually allow myself to work out 5 times a week, you know, strength train 5 times a week, eat this lifestyle. And I'm going to just build this until my body gets acclimatized to it. And then maybe I'm like, now what do I want to do? Maybe I want to, you know, fill in the blanks.
Totally. And that's a really important point too. Like, my takeaway from that is maintenance, just simply being and doing the damn thing. That is huge progress too. That's actually a reoccurring theme that I've picked up on some clients recently, and they just needed to hear me say that, like, no, you're doing great. You're doing everything you need to do. Like you're maintaining, and that's okay. Like we go through these seasons of change, especially with weather and our own personal life and our career and everything. Yeah. You're always going to be changing. You're always going to be evolving. Sometimes just maintaining the status quo is perfectly fucking okay.
Yeah. I think the personal growth industry, again, that I've been part of, has really sold us a lie. And the lie is that we have to constantly be chasing. But part of growing is integration. Integration is, you get to that place and like, I have to integrate that I'm a person who works out 5 times a week, or I have to integrate, I have to get my body system acclimatized to that. And that's an important part of growth. Like,
really
it's just
is.
like when you're working out, like the muscle is healing, it's or rehabilitating, like it's getting used to being that size. So I think we are so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, give it some compassion, some grace for ourselves goes a long way. And that's something I try to portray a lot in my content, especially, is like, give yourself some fucking grace. Like, especially like through these last 2 years, people are so like, oh, I've gained the pandemic 20 or whatever, this and this. And like, okay, like it served you during that time. Okay. I don't know. Let's move on from it. It happened. Who cares? Like, let's look at other things, it's just tough. We have to just start being compassionate towards ourselves at some point.
I think that's so related to health overall, because I know for myself, fighting against my body, which I did my entire life, my body, I came from a legacy of obesity. So my parents, my grandparents, like people died for obesity related reasons all the way back as far as I could remember. And even since I was a child, like 5 years old, I was told the story of being fat. We are a fat family. We love food. That's what we do. And so my whole life, it was like me versus my body. Like, I'm going to beat myself up. I'm going to restrict myself. And so the more, that's fragmentation, right? Like, it's like, there's me and then there's my body. And if we're at war with our body, how the hell are we going to achieve anything? And so that's been probably even the biggest healing for me, is about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to stop the whole changing of my body. Just to be in my body and make peace with it was my goal. And that's actually when things started to change. That wasn't my goal, but things started to change fundamentally about my relationship to her. I was like, but it took a while. It's unprogramming all that crap, right?
Yeah. That's hard. And loving yourself and accepting yourself, and just knowing that right now, as you are, you're enough. Like, you don't need to change for anybody, anyone, anything. But if you want to do it for yourself, I'll be the first person to tell you, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's do it for the right reasons. But starts now with wherever you are in your journey. I don't care if you can't walk 10 minutes without being out of breath. I don't care if you can't lift a dumbbell. It doesn't matter. But we still need to start loving ourselves first.
Yeah, because if we do it from a place of I'm punishing my body,
and this is a really tricky subject too, because I'll make content out there talking about that, and people are like, okay, but how do I do that? Nobody knows how to do that, and I don't know if there's a straightforward answer to that, because everybody's different. Everybody responds to things differently. Everybody's got different experiences, traumas that they have to process and things like that. So I don't even know where to begin with how people do that.
Well, I don't know that I have.
How I did it.
I'll share one of the things that I talk about, because everybody tells you to love yourself. Nobody tells you how. And so for me, the best way to think about it is think about being in a relationship with somebody else, because it's very hard for us to see our relationship with ourselves. It's like, I don't know where to look. So if I look at being in a relationship with a guy, right? So how do you love someone? What does it mean to love someone? What it means is that you look at them and first of all, you get to know them, right? So like the first step to loving someone is getting to know somebody, right? Like, who are you? Like, what do you stand for? What do you do? What do you care about? What's important to you, right? So I would do the same things with myself. Like, I have a whole program where it's like, who am I actually really? Like, okay, so get to know the other person, spend some time with them, go on dates with them, go explore with them, see what they're like under stressful situations, under fun. Like, who are they fundamentally? So that's number one, is get to know them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But then the second part of that is accepting who they are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, Matt, these are all your great qualities. I love you have a growth mindset. You're so positive. You're so optimistic. And, the bad and the ugly is sometimes you can be a, I don't know, like, right?
I can be an asshole.
I'm sure there are things.
I'm aware.
I'm right out of thin air, but I'm sure there are, and so accepting that this is who you are. Maybe you're a procrastinator. Maybe you're a drill sergeant.
Big time.
You have tough love. Like, people always tell me, like, tough love is like, so whatever. But I accept it. I accept it. So know who you are, and then accept it. Say, you know what? Like, I did a post, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I was like, loving myself doesn't include just loving the good parts. It's like all the parts. So here are 10 things that I don't like about myself particularly, but I accept it. Like, like, I accept that I'm a procrastinator. I actually think I work really well under pressure. So all my life, I'm like, I hate that I'm a procrastinator. I accept it now. It's actually fundamentally.
You're giving yourself that pressure, that artificial pressure, right?
But it's just, so I have like, these are the parts of me that I don't like, but I accept them. And some of these things I want to change. And some of these things, I accept it. It's who I am. So, and that's the recipe for love. It's like, know the other person and accept all parts of them. And then love is the action. It's the showing of, the demonstration of care. So I do the same thing with myself. Who am I? I figure out who I am. And there's lots of ways that you can do that. And then number two, I accept those parts of myself. I look at those parts and I say, this is who I am. I'm a person who doesn't particularly like exercise, or doesn't, whatever, fill in the blank. And then number three is I create actions, habits, we call them habits, actions to show myself love. I find ways to move my body that I love. I love to dance. I love to walk. I love to hike. I love being in nature. So that's how you love yourself. And that's the recipe, to love yourself. There you go.
There we go.
Oh,
now everybody after listening to this is going to love themselves.
No, accept and love.
Accept, yes.
No,
start with acceptance. Yes.
That's it.
Woo! I love it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's gold right there.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear more about your tour. I am definitely going to come out and see you. I'm going to bring like a fucking squad with me or something. Everybody needs to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I love you. Well, we can co-create something. We can absolutely co-create something. Where are you?
I'm in Maine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I'm in Northwest Ohio. So
I know exactly where you are. Yeah, awesome.
Yep, it's like what for car drive, it's probably like 4 or 5 hours or something.
Yeah,
between
we
the
can
two
make
of us.
something happen. We can make magic happen. This is how we do it. We just bring people together, and because fundamentally, this goes back to the beginning of this conversation. Is like how we do anything is creating environments. We have to create an ecosystem of people who want the same things, who are speaking the same language. It's fundamental. It's fundamental. You can't do it on your own. So so that's what we do.
I love it. And even if it doesn't happen when you're on tour, obviously you'd be very busy at that point. Beth and I have talked a lot about like getting just all these amazing people that we've networked and met and made friends with over the last 2 years, getting us all together at some point and just like doing an event or just collaborating on all kinds of cool shit. Like,
I'm always in. I'm always in, because when you meet people who you're aligned with, it's always a yes. It's always a yes.
It's always a fuck yes. If it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no.
Fuck no.
Awesome. So, Beth, do you have anything you want to ask Gina before we start saying our goodbyes? Or
I actually was going to ask about like the touring and stuff, but you did it already. So.
Oh damn it! I stole your thunder.
I wanted to see where she was going to be touring, because I want to.
Yeah, and I'm still in the literally we just got the green light like just a couple weeks ago, so I've got my team kind of putting their feelers out. Previously, in the previous world, pre-COVID world, I usually book a tour a year in advance. So usually like I'd be booked out for a year, but because the world is just opening up, it's like we don't know what to do. We're like deer with wobbly legs, like So it's bizarre, because it takes usually a year to plan. So it's a brave new world. We're trying new things, but I will always announce it, and I will keep you posted. I would love to collide worlds. So
we definitely will. And on that note, so if people want to pay attention to your announcements for your tour, anything else, like where can people find you? Where can they get the most updated information about you? Or maybe even collaborate, connect with you, work with you, anything.
Yes, I'm pretty much everywhere. My website's being revamped, so don't go there, but go to anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. It's Gina Too Much Woman.
Gina Too Much Woman.
Okay. I'm the loud one.
The loud redhead, and we'll tag you in our show notes, of course. So
awesome! I can't wait to share it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. What a pleasure meeting you, Beth.
Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you.
Thank you, and Matt. You know I love you. I love
yes, love you too.
And
thank you again, Gina, for your time. Do truly appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. See you. All right.
What's up?
Beth, oh my God. So Gina, Too Much Woman.
I love her.
What were your thoughts there?
My thoughts were, she reminds me a lot of, what we talk about really.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved to hear about, the steps to love yourself, because that's such a question that we get all the time. Like, it's like, how do you tell someone to love yourself? Like, and I really loved her answer, because I was like, wow, okay, that really makes sense. It kind of put it in perspective for me, because it's something that, maybe we've worked on, but really can't even put it into words, how to love yourself. You just take action, right?
Yeah. Showing up for yourself, I think, is the most important thing too.
Yeah. And then I like the, pretend that you're in a relationship, which was like, okay, you can really put in perspective that way when you look at it that way. Like,
I love that
really,
too. And really, like, you can date yourself too. Take yourself out on dates. And go to the fucking movie by yourself. Go out to dinner by yourself. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love traveling by myself. That's when I've done a lot of my own discoveries, traveling by myself.
And the thing is, I never used to be like that. And that's when I didn't like myself. I have to always be around people.
Needed other people
to
be happy.
Uncomfortable being alone. Like, I hated it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I love nothing more than to be alone.
Yep. Exactly. That being alone, being by yourself is very fucking addicting too. That can be, that's a slippery slope. So you got to be careful with that one.
It really is. Really is. Yeah.
For sure. I am coming to see you in 4 days? 5 days? Oh my
God. Yes. I'm so excited. So Tuesday we're doing our photo shoot. And I think Monday afternoon, Hunter was wondering, we're hoping we can hang out all together.
Yeah. Let's put that on the agenda. Hell yeah. Let's do that.
So maybe go to dinner or something that evening.
I'm down.
Podcasting, TikToking.
Yep. All the people are going to probably get sick of us by the end of the week. We're going to have so much shit out there. So
we can put stuff in our drafts too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Make content for later dates.
Yep. I got my Keto Ken wig is ready to go. I'm going to go put it in my suitcase.
Did you get a hotel? Don't say where it is. Just
I did.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I absolutely got the hotel. That reminds me I need to get a car, but I'll get on that today. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yay. And apparently the weather is supposed to be nice next week.
Oh yes. So here in Ohio, it's like 70. So like I'll take some nice Maine sunshine, hopefully, and some hiking. Can't wait to get some fucking hiking.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out the best hike that I want to take you on. That's
okay.
So I'm working on that. I mean, there's so much to choose from, so it's kind of like that's not a problem.
And really quickly, I wanted to give an update for everybody listening, for you, Beth, too. My powerlifting prep is coming to an end. My meet is in 3 days from now. So when people are listening to this, it will be the day after this podcast comes out on Saturday. I am so fucking excited.
That's so exciting.
Nerves have not set in. I'm trying to do everything I can for that to not happen. But I'm ready to go. I'm excited to see what I can do, what this last 8 weeks of intense training has led me to. And I'm still a pound away from my stupid goal weight for my weight class, which is 198, 0.25, very specific. But the nice thing is I'm not going to fret about it. I don't need to be stressed about that right now. It'll happen.
Yeah.
If I don't meet my weight class, I can actually just compete in the next higher up class, which I can still compete. And that's my goal, right? Is I just want to go there, show up and do the fucking thing. And so I'm going to do that regardless. I'm going to show up and be the best version of myself. I'm not going to let the scale weight stress me the fuck out about that. So.
Right. Of course, you're probably going to film it, I hope.
Yep. So they have so I've got some family coming, which is going to be cool. They'll be recording it, I'm sure. Friends, I think, are coming. But they also have like this service. They're professional photographers that do all their events as well that I can pay for their services as well. So I'm thinking about doing that as well. So definitely going to record like some behind the scenes stuff as long as it's not distracting for me. So
yeah. Now, do you have your little fucking outfit? What do they call it? What's the name for it?
Singlet. Yeah, it came in. For some reason, it got delivered to my parents' house. So I got to go get that today. I've never worn a singlet in my life.
Oh, we're going to see Matt in a singlet.
Yeah, that makes me a little uncomfortable, but
I love it. That's awesome.
It's just weird. It's just weird to me because I usually lift weights in like sweatpants and a fucking sweatshirt and stuff, right? You know. So it'll be very weird, but gotta play by their rules. So
yeah,
my new knee sleeves came in today because the knee sleeves that I've been using they were too thick, so they weren't regulation. So I got to go try those in, and I'll probably just wear them around the house and break them in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's so weird too. Their uniforms are so oddly specific. You have to wear a specific type of underwear and socks and everything.
Really?
Yeah, like you have to wear briefs, I think. And you can't it's because like they don't want like compression stuff because compression can act as a performance enhancer with giving you a little bit of a more bounce in your movement and things like that. So I have to do all that weird stuff with the equipment check. So, but
now do you wear specific shoes?
Yeah, your shoes have to be. So I got new Chucks, new Converse for the meet. They have to be regulation and everything too. So. They're very specific.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
And is this in Pennsylvania?
Ohio. It's over like the Canton, Akron area. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My buddy Dalsky, which we talk about him on the podcast a lot. He sent me a text last night. He's like, "Hey, is it cool if I come?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, if you want to come, like, come on out, dude." So
yeah,
I think he'll be coming. So yeah,
that's awesome.
He lives in Pittsburgh, which is pretty close for him there. So
awesome.
Yep.
I can't wait to hear all about it.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. And then we're going to get my coach on the podcast too, right? To do what we learned from that and everything, what that was like. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to know his perspective on what it was like to coach me throughout this process. So
yeah.
Interview the coach.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, Beth. Well, I'll be seeing you here in a few days.
Yeah.
You enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye. And that is a wrap for this episode of Cut the Crap with Beth and Matt. Did we help you cut through the bullshit? We want to know. Send us a DM on Instagram and share your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. And if you did find this one helpful, why not share this episode with a friend? I know I personally love it when a friend shares their favorite podcast with me, along with a text saying, "Oh my God, you have got to check out this podcast. You'll love it." And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future